Good evening, my viewers. This is George Ondek with the latest edition of the George Ondek Show. I'm very proud to have back an old friend and the Cortlandt Town Supervisor, Linda Puglisi.
Thank you so much, George. It's a real pleasure to be here, to be back with you, to talk about our community. I'm looking forward to it.
And in full disclosure, I must tell everybody, I'm a member of Ms. Puglisi's Veterans Committee, and what is it called?
It's called the Cortlandt Hudson Valley Veterans Committee. Our chairperson is William Nazario. It was started by the late Mike Mongero, if you recall Mike.
Yes,
Remember
very
Mike?
much.
Yeah, and so we have a wonderful committee, many members of it, not just from the town of Cortlandt, but from the whole area. And we talk about services for our veterans, their needs, and we've been fighting for the last several years to save the VA hospital, George.
And you've done a very good job of doing that.
Yeah.
I am a disabled Vietnam, 40% disabled Vietnam
Is that
veteran.
right? Mm-hmm.
Yes.
From the
And
Vietnam era, right?
from the Vietnam era, and during the Vietnam War, I
Yeah.
served in the combat zone at the 71st Medevac Hospital.
Wow, that's wonderful. Thank you
And
for
I-
your service,
And I
George.
know you truly, tell me what you told me before the show, where you were recently at the VA hospital.
I was at our VA hospital, which is located in the hamlet of Montrose in the town of Cortlandt. It's in Cortlandt. And I was there around Valentine's Day, distributing Valentines to our veterans
isn't
that
that
live
nice?
at the VA. There are many World War II veterans, Korea veterans, some Vietnam veterans that call our VA home.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the World War II veterans, George, they have no family members or friends left, and so myself and others, our chairperson, as an example, went down with me and we distributed some of the Valentines made by the students from the schools. Isn't that lovely?
Yes, but
Yeah.
Ms. Puglisi, today there was big breaking news in the journal news. Maybe you want to tell my audience about it, about what happened, about a private developer coming in and developing that property, and what you had to do along with your Veterans Committee to stop it.
We've had a great team fighting this, so it hasn't just been me. It's been a wonderful team, and I will try to be succinct because it's a pretty involved
Yes.
subject matter. Several years ago, the Department of the Veterans Affairs in Washington, D.C., the Secretary of the VA at the time, and those that have been in that position since, have wanted to downsize our VA and 16 others throughout the country.
Wow.
For financial reasons, I guess. I guess that's the reason. And by downsizing, that would mean that they would lease off 160 of the remaining 172 acres of the VA, the property, to a developer, who would then in turn build somewhere up to 400 housing units, not necessarily for veterans. Can you believe it?
I can't believe that.
Is that amazing? And then that would remain only about 12 acres left, a few of the buildings, and a reduced number of services for our veterans. Well, we were outraged when we heard about this. We've been fighting for several years now to make sure that this did not become a reality. And I learned when I was at the VA in February from the director of the VA, Jerry Coulaton. He's a terrific veteran.
Yes.
He's the director of our VA. And he showed me a copy of the letter that said that this plan had expired December 31st of the year 2011. So I have a copy of it. And so that's good news. However, it also said in the letter that the Department of Veterans Affairs could go back to Congress and they could ask for a renewal of this plan, which is called an enhanced use lease. This was their plan.
Enhanced use lease.
EUL.
And they were going to build high-end housing
condos and
condos on the Hudson.
They were going to lease it off to a developer because the Department of the Veterans Affairs cannot sell it. They would lease it off, and then the developer would pay money to the VA. But we would have reduced, diminished services and medical services for our veterans. As you know, yourself included,
Yes.
there are many veterans in our area that need to go there on a daily basis
Yes.
as outpatients for various services.
Right.
All kinds of wonderful doctors are there,
Yes.
and nurses and staff. and they need this VA.
And you mean to tell me at a time like this when
Yep.
we just ended the Iraq war, but there's still troops there,
Afghanistan.
and we have Afghanistan, where troops are coming back injured, psychologically damaged. They thought about cutting back a vital
Yes.
service.
I mean, it's just mind-boggling to me.
And they don't know, to a veteran, let's say who lives in Montrose, Cortlandt, Yorktown, how much it means to have to travel another 30 or 50 or 100 miles to go to a VA center
And George,
if this one would
exactly.
close
And some of the
down.
veterans can't drive a car if they
Right.
have some issues, health issues, that they can't drive a car at this time. So they need somebody nearby to drive them to the VA. They were going to this was their plan.
To downsize it.
downsize the medical and other services here, and then bring them to other VA centers that are an hour, 2 hours away.
And that's terrible.
And it just couldn't happen. So we
And we-
are pleased that after all of our efforts, including some of us, myself included, going down to Washington to tell the Veterans Affairs Department not to do this, pleading with them not to do this, and giving them reasons why they shouldn't. All right. So now that we know that this plan has expired, the Department of Veterans Affairs still has the right, I guess, if you want to use that word, to go to Congress to ask them to renew it. We will fight that. We will oppose that if that happens, and we will continue to be vigilant, is my word. We're guardedly optimistic because we learned it's expired, but we are not going to let down our guard. We are going to continue always to fight for our veterans because they've defended us, yourself including Mr. Ondek. Thank you for your
Ms.
service.
Puglisi. And I must say to my audience, again, in full disclosure, I am a member of your Veterans Committee, that Ms. Puglisi really cares about the veterans.
Yeah.
She has a monthly meeting, she serves refreshments to them, and truly cares about the veterans.
We do. We meet the last Thursday of every month in the Cortlandt Town Hall. We have breakfast refreshments, as you said.
Right.
Exactly.
Pastry, coffee.
You name it. All right.
Right.
Because we want to make it a very informal, wonderful experience for the veterans to come out and to meet with us. We have speakers who talk about
Yes.
important issues.
Right.
We galvanize together to fight this downsizing of our VA. And we just have a wonderful team from every era.
And what's great about you too is you're inclusive, not exclude. Well, you include everybody in the Hudson Valley area
In the whole
to come,
area.
not just
come on
Cortland
over,
residents. So you could
exactly.
be from Peekskill or Yorktown
definitely.
or Montrose or Verplank.
In fact, this is a really interesting project that I just became part of with our Veterans Committee, with our chairman, and with our town board support, by the way. It's called the Heroes to Hometown.
Yes, with John Donahue
John
and the
Donahue.
American Legion
In
of
Peekskill.
Peekskill, my hometown.
Exactly. So we work closely together with all of our veterans groups in the area, and let me just tell you a little bit about this program. It's very exciting. John and his colleagues, his fellow veterans of the American Legion, are working to help veterans, those coming back from the recent wars, coming back to our area, and if they need help, any kind of help, that we're going to work together to try to find them that help, be it people to help with their finances or with housing or child care or seeking a job. You know, so all of those things from small to big issues. This group, chaired by John Donahue of the American Legion.
He and Lenny Varela.
Varela, right,
And
a friend of
Al
mine.
Donahue.
Of course,
and,
John's brother,
and,
right?
Mr. O'Shaughnessy are great guys, very patriotic Americans. I'm a past member of the American Legion, and I'm just about to rejoin that post
please
because
do.
of all the good work they're doing.
Yeah, that's a wonderful organization.
And Linda, I was very proud one year, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, when you were at the VA protesting to keep the VA hospital
Yeah,
open.
right.
I was fortunate enough to bump into a News 12 team, and they asked me for my opinion. And I said, this hospital must remain open for disabled and veterans who need the services.
George, you've been right there with us from the beginning, and we
you
thank
know
you
that.
so much.
And speaking of...
Yeah, and I was just going to say, but PTSD and TBI...
I hear that's the #1 hospital in America, the
and
Montrose
and
campus.
it has to remain that way.
Yes.
And it has to even improve more. But can you imagine people coming back to our area, and there are many veterans needing that service, and they go knock on the door, and the services are downsized. Sorry, you have to go an hour north,
to
or 2 hours,
Kingsbridge
or Castle Point, or the Bronx, or whatever.
Right. And what about the veterans who are 70, 80, 90 years old and may not be able to drive anymore?
Right. So it's just...
And another good thing you did recently, something about a train station. Do you want to talk about that and how it helps people who are going to that VA campus?
And this is a nice segue into the Cortlandt train station, is that a grand opening about a month ago, MTA, Metro North, they constructed the second phase of the Cortlandt train station. And that opened up with a ribbon cutting that I had the honor of being at about a month ago. And you can walk across the railroad tracks with a enclosed pedestrian walkway. We had been lobbying for this for several years. Metro North was great enough to be able to fund it and to build it and construct it. It was about a 2-year construction period. Phase 1 of the Cortlandt train station opened up in June of 1999. And Phase 2 just opened up about a month ago. And veterans can take the train now, George, and they can get off of the train, walk across this safe walkway, enclosed, walk right across the street to the VA hospital, because it's right across Route 9A. Right across there.
Mm-hmm.
And with a traffic light, by the way, so it'll be safe for them to get across. And also, if you work at the VA facility, you can also take the train, come there, walk across, safe traffic light once again, go to your workplace to help the veterans. So it's just a wonderful thing. As well, it helps our commuters.
And I'd like to segue into something else.
Yeah.
Did I hear you say something about 20 or 21 years?
I didn't say it.
Well, I thought I heard that, but let me bring this up. You are a person after my own heart in another area, taxes.
Yeah.
I'm an advocate for 0 or lower taxes.
Sure.
You've been a supervisor of the town of Cortlandt for 21 years.
This is my 21st year, yes.
And you've been on the board 4 years prior to that as a council person.
So you add those up, it's 25
Sounds like
years.
25. I've lived in the area 23 years. So I've followed your career pretty closely.
We've known each other for all these years.
Yes. On and off, I've been a member of your committee. Sometimes I had to drop out when my wife wasn't feeling too well.
And we're glad
she's
she's doing
become
better, thank
partially
God.
disabled recently.
Yeah.
And retired like myself. But tell me how, over 21 years that you've been supervisor, have you been able to keep taxes under 1%?
Well, first of all, it can be done.
It can be done.
It can most
Do you
definitely.
need an MBA to do it?
No, I don't have an MBA, but
Or do you have to be a town manager or have a town manager's degree?
In a town form of government, we don't have a town manager.
Or city manager.
The town of Cortlandt supervisor is a full-time position.
It's a full-time position.
And we have department heads, such as a town controller.
So they assist you.
That assists me, and the town board, of course.
So tell me how you're able to do this, Miss Supervisor.
Well, first of all, I promised our taxpayers, our residents, that when I first became supervisor, that I would do everything I could to keep their town taxes as low as I could, and keep the services, which is very important.
And you're not a Republican, and you're not a Tea Partier. In full disclosure, I must tell you, I'm from the opposite party, but I put people of all parties on my show that I feel is the best person in the office, no matter who he or she may be.
I am a Democrat. My parents were Democrats, and so you follow your family, your parents. That's the rule of thumb. I met President John F. Kennedy when I was a young child.
He was a fine president, and what a tragic ending. I was only a young lad then.
Right, he was campaigning with my father, who was running for state senate at the time in 1960.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I was a young girl at the time, and so I had the honor of meeting the candidate, John Kennedy.
I met him at the Yonkers train station.
Oh, really?
He appeared there, and I even got to shake his hand as well as
Yeah.
his brother Robert. You can't picture that in
No,
today's
so
day
I
and
have
age.
that vision in my mind all my life. I've been involved in student government offices, all the way through, and I was a president of a homeowners association, and I was always interested and involved in being involved in community civic organizations. All
So
right?
in other words, you run your town like you would run your own budget. You don't overspend. Is
Right,
that
and I was a
true?
preschool director for about 12 years, a wonderful
wow.
school. And so I was a town council person for 4 years. A one term is 4 years.
Right.
And so I learned a lot as a council person about town government. And then I wanted to be in charge. I wanted to be the town supervisor. And I was fortunate and honored to win that election going back to 1991. And my first year was in 1992. And I pledged to the citizens that I would do everything I could to find ways to keep the town taxes as low as possible so that they would have more money in their pockets for their families, but still maintain the services and improve the services. And I believe that we've been able to do this for 21 years. We have a proven record of, for 21 years, not raising the town taxes all those many years over 1%. It's actually like 0.8%.
So that's way below the cost of living
Right.
for all of
So
you.
we were interested in being a tax capper way before it became the
vogue.
the thing
Yeah.
to do.
Well, Westchester County is the highest taxed county in America,
Per
maybe
capita,
the
yeah.
world.
but not in Cortland.
But not in Cortland. You're
Well, the
able
town
to.
taxes, we don't have any jurisdiction over the county taxes or the school
No, I
taxes.
know that.
The town taxes, which
Right,
is your services for snow plowing and sanitation and parks and the town pool and all those good things. Okay. And the town tax is about 14% of your overall annual tax bill.
Most people don't realize school taxes are 70%.
Close to it, about 66%.
And in a month or two, there'll be elections
Right.
and budgets. They should really get involved in
By-
that if they want to keep their taxes down.
Right. By state law, the town's elected receiver of taxes must collect
For the school.
the school taxes and the county taxes. There's only 2 counties in New York State that has that obligation.
I just wish some school superintendents and boards followed your policies and
Well, thank
kept
you,
things within check.
But once again, it can be done, and at the same time, every single year we have never had a deficit, no
Never a
deficits
deficit.
ever. And every single year we've had a surplus at the end of the fiscal year. It can be done. We've shared services, which with other municipalities and other entities on various items, and that has helped us to save money.
I must ask you this, Ms. Puglisi.
Linda,
You've
please.
done such a great job as the town supervisor of Cortland. Have you ever had higher ambitions, such as another executive job on the elected level? And do you think it's possible in the future, or are you happy just being the town supervisor
First of all,
Clean?
I love being Cortland Town Supervisor, and it's very rewarding, it's very fulfilling, and I'm very proud of the things that we've ever been able to do. And I just love the 40,000 people that live in the town of Cortland. I've met so many people. I love the children in our community.
I know somebody else you love in the town,
Who's that?
the senior citizens.
I love our seniors. Right?
I've gone to a health fair you've had, and
yeah.
they give blood pressure testing,
Hudson
cholesterol.
Valley Hospital Center.
But you set it up in the town so people could come
Yeah.
there and take
Well,
advantage
aren't we
of
blessed that we have the Hudson Valley Hospital Center?
Yes,
in
and
our
what a
community?
magnificent.
They've
I
done-
told you my wife has had a couple
Yeah.
of 2 or 3 sicknesses over the years,
Right.
and she was treated mainly at Hudson Valley Hospital.
And there's a brand
their
new cancer
their-
care facility
and their
there.
new surgery center, which is only 2 years
Yeah.
old. She was one of the first persons
right?
who had a hip replacement operation there.
It's just been, it's a wonderful expansion. The president, John Fetterspiel, I'm sure
Yes.
you know him. He and the board of directors have done a great job. They just opened up a
New
brand
cancer
new
center.
cancer care center named after the late Cheryl Lindenbaum. A wonderful, wonderful
Bruce
person.
Lindenbaum's
Bruce's wife,
wife
exactly. I had the honor of being there at the ribbon cutting,
Yes.
and that is just a wonderful asset.
And Mr. Fettispiel has
yeah.
done a terrific
A great
job
job,
in
yeah.
running that, and how that's grown from just a small country hospital into a modern hospital that doctors
And
are coming in from all over.
And also, I was originally located in the city of Peekskill.
Yes.
And moved over to the town of Cortlandt, but that's why it's called the Hudson Valley Regional Hospital Center.
Yes, I like that name
Yeah, me too.
for it.
I like
Yes.
that too, which is
So
the same thing we did with our
Peekskill can't
veterans.
gain claim for it. I'm
Oh.
getting all tongue-tied here.
Yeah.
Or Cortland or Yorktown, it's everybody can go
It
there.
services our whole community, the whole
Yes.
area,
And-
and it's just the nurses, the
Oh,
staff.
from the time you go in
Yeah.
till the time you check out, they can't do enough for
Well,
you.
I went there a few years ago and I broke my ankle. We were talking before the
Yes.
show started. And I broke my ankle. I was rushed to the emergency room and had an operation there. And everybody just treated me so well. Everybody was so kind. In a situation like
Yes.
that, you were mentioning
And
your
so
wife.
helpful, yes.
They're so helpful, and it was just it's just wonderful to have that kind of compassion when you're in that situation. Don't you agree?
I agree 100%,
Yeah.
and very proud to have that in our area. And many doctors who are like from Yorktown and areas like that are now relocating right in the
Most
hospital.
definitely, they have doctors' offices
Yes,
there.
the heart
so
specialist, Dr. Becker, who I think is one of your
he's on the town board with me.
Yeah, his
Yeah.
offices are now connected with the hospital because
He's-
my wife is treated by the doctor under him, Dr. Can't recall his-
Richard and his team of cardiologists, they're in the
Yes.
hospital now, and as are a lot of others. And so it's wonderful to have them there.
A nerve specialist. I had damaged some nerves
Oh,
in my
really?
arm shoveling snow last year.
Oh, you gotta
And
be
he
careful,
came in
George.
to see my wife because she had a minor bout, something like a TIA or a seizure.
Oh.
And I was so surprised. He walked in Hudson Valley Hospital at noontime on a Sunday to see her. And he told me he was relocating his offices from Yorktown to Hudson
Really?
Valley
Oh,
Hospital
terrific.
now.
And then if I may take it
Yes.
one step further, we are so fortunate that we have a terrific team.
Oh, that was Dr. Dawser. I would be remiss if
Okay.
I didn't mention Dr. Dawser's name. He's right under Dr. Becker.
That's right, they're a part of the cardiology team.
But go ahead.
But we also have wonderful paramedics
Yes.
and volunteer EMTs, emergency services. And the paramedics, of course, are centered at our hospital. And I have the pleasure of being on the executive committee for the paramedics. And it started during my tenure, paramedics, advanced life support. And people don't even remember when we didn't have it. Now we do. It's just terrific.
You also have a great volunteer fire department also, I
All
believe.
of we have
Are
several.
they about to celebrate their 90th anniversary? Somebody told me that Lake Mohegan Fire Department.
Mohegan Fire Department,
I
right.
think they're about.
Yeah, they're
a
going
good
to have a big
friend of
parade.
mine, Fremont Reef, had told me. I think you know Fremont.
I think I know Fremont, yes, right. He is a past chairman of our Veterans Committee also, Fremont.
Yes.
But the Mohegan Fire District is going to be having this wonderful parade in September.
Oh, wow.
And, all of the fire departments from all over the county are going to be there. So they're wonderful. They do such a terrific job. The EMTs, the firefighters, the ambulance corps, and our paramedics. They work as a network and a team to help save lives.
Something else with the town, how do you keep a balance, let's say, between economic development and parkland or
Well, that's a
open
good-
spaces?
That is
and
a really terrific question, and I've had the philosophy and the approach to government and the community that we wanted a balance. You know, you want a healthy, thriving economy and business, small, medium, and large in your community, but at the same time, we want to keep open space and parkland and have parks for our families to go to
Sure.
and have recreation. So we're very pleased that we've been able
Oh.
to balance both.
Getting back to that,
Yeah.
and veterans also, aren't you doing something about building a veterans monument
Yes.
on the river in
Yes,
in
we are.
Cortlandt?
Our other American Legion post that's located
Verplank?
from the hamlet of Verplank in the town
Very fine post.
got a petition together and submitted it to me and to the town board asking us to construct a veterans park. And so we are pleased that we have land on the Hudson River in the town that the town owns, where the town board has agreed with me to construct a veterans park for all veterans. All right, it's not just from one era or one war, it's for all veterans, it's generic. And I'm very pleased to have been working with all the veterans of the American Legion. And we have the plans that are designed. The American Legion has approved of them, the town board has approved of them, and we're going to go into construction most likely late April.
That'll be fantastic.
It's right on the banks of the Hudson River.
That'll be beautiful.
No railroad tracks along this strip of land that we own.
One thing I also must mention, breaking news.
Yep.
An old friend of mine from Yonkers is now going to be our congresswoman from this area, Nita Lowy.
Yes.
I think she'll
We
be
assume,
a tremendous asset to northern Westchester. I hear she's a very people-orientated person and really delivers for her constituents.
Well, George, you probably know that there has been redistricting
Yes.
of the congressional districts. And Congresswoman Nan Hayworth is our current congresswoman. And her district has been redistricted. It actually went to a magistrate. It went to the courts who came up with the final plan.
And that is the final plan.
That's the final
then
plan.
Ms. Lowy is our congressperson.
Well, as of January 1st.
Okay, as
All right?
of January 1st.
And then, Nita Lowy will be running. She is running for re-election. I actually saw her.
I don't think she should have a problem.
I saw her over the weekend, actually.
Yes.
I've known her for several years as well. And she's very enthusiastic about learning about our community and about the VA in particular. And she most likely will have an opponent.
Yes.
But she's been there for 23 years,
Yes.
and she has
she
a lot.
delivers.
And she delivers, and she has a lot of seniority in the House
Congress.
House
So that would be good
Representatives.
for northern Westchester to
right.
be represented by somebody who has got a lot of seniority.
But she will have an election in November, so if she wins, then she'll be our congressperson come January 1st.
But Linda, you know I like to give breaking news
right,
during
it's
my
your
show.
news.
We're near the end. I do have a bit of sad news.
Oh, no.
One of my guests who's been on from time to time
Yeah.
over the years, I don't know if you know of him, Bert Sugar. He was a boxing writer
Yes, I've
and a
watched him for
boxing
years.
enthusiast, and I've had him on 4 or 5
Really?
times. Passed away last night from a heart attack.
I saw that on the news last
Yes,
night.
and he was a marvelous person.
And he loved sports in
Loved
general, but
sports.
boxing in
he
particular,
wrote 80
right?
different books on sports, mostly on boxing.
And I heard that he was a lawyer. He went to law school
Yes,
many years ago.
and we'll miss him. And Bert, I bet you're up there in heaven now, giving him a left and a right, smoking a cigar and having a big hat on.
May he rest in
he used
peace.
to love to smoke cigars
Yeah.
and wear hats. But Linda, in closing, I can't believe how fast the time
It's
is.
gone too fast.
So what do you have to say in closing, Linda?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me here and being able to discuss our important issues. And, I have been here for a while, obviously, and people ask me, do you still enjoy being town supervisor? I love being town supervisor, and I love our beautiful community where I've raised my twins, and they're all grown up now.
And how can people contact you?
They can contact me, of course, at my office via my email or the phone number, and I believe it's on the screen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And please feel free to contact
And
me.
in closing, I
Yep.
hope we can do this again in the very near future. And my viewing audience throughout Westchester, this has been the George Ondek Show. I was very honored tonight to have Cortlandt Town Supervisor Linda Puglisi.
Thank you, George.
Thank you
you.
for coming
Okay,
by
thank
from
you.
your busy schedule.
Oh,
And keep them taxes down in Cortlandt.
Yes, we will.
And keep treating veterans good, and you'll win every time.
I don't know about that.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.